Well, 10 years ago, there's no way you could have convinced me my life would be the way it is now. I mean, age is catching up to me, yes, just like all of us. And the physical limitations I have now because disability. And having such a strict budget, I have to weigh every dollar I spend. And I'm going to talk about some of the things that I don't get to do anymore. You know, I used to go to the grocery store and buy all my own groceries. I can't do that any longer. If I had a car, I could, but the grocery store's close enough I can walk to it, but carrying a load is a little more than I can handle. And I also don't get to buy the clothes that I used to. Not that I was ever somebody who bought fine designer clothes, but I always had jeans, plenty of jeans. I think I had 20 pair of jeans hanging in the closet. And I had a lot of button-down collared long sleeve shirts and some polo shirts. And now the price of the jeans I used to buy has doubled. And it's so expensive, I spend all my money on groceries and rent, utilities. And I try to get something towards rebuilding my life with every check. Which this time I only was able to manage an egg cooker, which I'm not good at making hard-boiled eggs, so this simplifies it a lot for me. You know, it's only 12 or 13 bucks. You know, I don't get to go out to dinner anymore. I do all my own cooking. Well, mostly. I had a huge DoorDash addiction when I was working. You know, whether I was on the road or at home, I would order something from DoorDash and have it delivered. Simple. But now I can't afford that. So I'm always cooking something. And I learned how to bake bread. I'm learning how to make cookies now. So I like to have sweet treats once in a while. And the bread is, you know, I've noticed you got store-bought bread and you only have a little bit left and it sits for a few weeks and doesn't turn moldy or feel hard. You know, I don't know what they're putting in it to preserve it so long, but I don't think it's safe. So I make my bread dough and I throw 3 tablespoons of chia seeds in it. And that's good for fiber, and they're a pretty nutrient-dense seed. They're very good for you. So I eat those. And of course I don't get to drive anymore since I lack a vehicle. You know, it seems funny, I was driving, you know, almost 100,000 miles a year when I was in the truck, and in my cars, I drove 30 miles each way to work, you know, up and back. And after the company closed, I was doing, you know, the DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, whatever it took to make ends meet. So I miss having a car. And every once in a while I start looking at Marketplace for cars that maybe I could get. And of course they're older cars. I can't afford a new one. But then I look at one and I say, well, they can be fixed up. There's not too much wrong with that. Then I realize that I've lost all my tools. I used to have, full mechanics tools. I had carpenter tools, drywall tools. I've done a lot of different repairs and building over the years where those tools have built up and come in handy for me. But, even if I had the tools, it'd be hard for me to, crawl around on the ground underneath a car, or whatever positions you got to get in to work in a car would be very difficult for me. And I don't go out after dark anymore. It's always bothered my eyes to drive at night with oncoming traffic. But when I was driving a truck, it wasn't too bad because I sat higher than the car headlights, so they didn't bother me too much. And if they did, I could zap them back pretty good. So we had LEDs, and when you're sitting higher, you're aiming lower. But I didn't do that to many people, but some did deserve it. And I've quit dating. I'm just not interested anymore. I'm not bitter because I'm divorced. We had a very amicable divorce. She didn't want much. We just divided things right down the middle. And we did it good. But I see videos and stuff about these women. A lot of them want their guy to be 6'4", muscle bound. Have at least a couple $100,000 in the bank. And I think their expectations are a little too much. And frankly, the ones that aren't like that, they still bring a certain amount of drama with them that I don't want drama. I've got enough of my own drama, I'm dealing with all the things I'm dealing with. I don't want somebody else's. And of course, I can't do manual labor anymore. So that kind of puts me in the category where I gotta watch every dollar I spend. And I feel like I'm never gonna get ahead. Which I should. I should be warning you. You might be seeing a fundraiser I created. I'm trying to raise money to move to a nice apartment in a nice area. Right now I'm in a very crappy area. Traffic's horrible. And you don't know who's walking down this street. Especially at night. So, another reason I don't go out at night. Because the only weapon I carry is my cane. Right now it's an aluminum cane, so it won't do much damage to anybody. But, I said you might be seeing a fundraiser. I really don't want to do that. I don't want people giving me money. I've been begging money. Well, in 2022, I broke my ankle, and the injury outlasted the short-term disability. So I was raising money at that time. Gotta say, I received money from a lot of classmates. I was very overwhelmed by that, and they helped me out greatly. And I didn't do a fundraiser when I got evicted, but I was asking people. Instead of doing a fundraiser and giving me money, I think what I'd prefer to do is to grow this channel. I don't know if I'm good enough to attract a good, big crowd, or, I'm kind of ugly and I talk kind of lazy. And maybe like a dead battery at times. I think the best thing you could do for me is like, share, and subscribe my videos, or like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Share my videos out to people you think might be interested. And hit the notification bell so you know whenever I post a video, you'll be notified. And, okay. I went to a chiropractor yesterday. I know as far as chiropractors go, there's a lot of mixed feelings about them. Some call them quacks, some swear by them. The only experience I had with chiropractors was when I was back in my 20s. I got a couple of accidents that were not my fault. So I called my lawyer, and he set me up with a chiropractor, and they wanted to keep me coming 3 to 4 times a week. But I never could keep up that schedule. I'd say, screw it, just call the lawyer and say settle. I'm not going through all this. So my lower back has been hurting. I don't know what it's from. I suspect it might be my bed. Because when I get up in the morning, it's really heavy, really painful. And it seems the longer I sleep, the worse it is. Right? I'm doing a lot of, getting a lot of 8, 9, 10-hour night sleeps, which is good for the mental and physical. But being in the bed so long, it causes back problems. So I need to get a new mattress or box springs, or maybe just a sheet of plywood and put between the mattress and box springs to give me more support. And the chiropractor, all I did is fill out a whole shitload of paperwork. And then he puts me on a table, and he has this little clicker, click, 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 going around. I guess he's adjusting the bones. I assume. I didn't ask. But I know 40 years ago when I went to a chiropractor, they had the same tool. And had these tables that stood up, and you stood against them and they lay you down. So he had me up and down a few times. But he had me down. I don't know what he's doing. He's maybe like filling out where my bones are and stuff. I don't think it was legitimate. I don't think he was just trying to feel me out. But I don't know what he's doing. And I got home last night, and after I sat for a while in my chair here, I was hurting badly. I'm thinking, how can I go to a chiropractor and get feeling worse? And then I thought back to, I think it was the day before, when I crashed on an electric scooter. By the way, I got patched up and stuff. But then today again, I noticed it. So, I'm kind of sore all over. And that was from wiping out on the scooter. Which maybe I should not have tried. But the thing is, they charge you a few bucks a mile or whatever, but you got to open up an account and put $15 on it before you can ride. So I'm losing a lot of money if I don't ride anymore, but I could lose a lot more if I do ride. It's a busy highway, skinny sidewalks, no shoulder. That's all I got to do is fall into traffic. I don't want that to happen. Well, we shall see if I get another opportunity. Maybe I would take it on the side streets and practice, and so I get the hang of it. Since I don't think I've ridden a bicycle or a skateboard or anything since I was in my early 20s. I just naturally assumed I can keep my balance, but no, I didn't keep my balance very well. But anyway, the chiropractor wanted me to come back Friday, and yesterday was Wednesday. And I'm going to go Tuesday, because I didn't want to go Friday. And I have a different appointment on Monday to go to. So I'm going to give this guy a try for a little while. See if he can make some adjustments to make my back feel better. But I'm not going through the whole rigmarole of going there and getting the TENS stimulators put on your back while you lay there. And I don't have time for that. I don't want to go there all the time. And it's just like the orthopedic doctors, they won't do nothing for my back unless I go to physical therapy. So there again, I'm tied up several times a week. I don't know how many times for sure. And for how long, I don't know. And what could they actually do to fix my back? I don't know. I know there's arthritis in there. They say it's little arthritis, but that's not what I'm experiencing right now. But yeah, I don't want constant appointments for chiropractor or physical therapy. I told you I had to quit nicotine for 6 weeks in order to have knee replacement surgery done. Well, I found a new product. I don't know if it's called Nixodyne or Nixodine. It's Nixodine. You vape it, and they also put it in pouches. Excuse me. But it says that it hits the same receptors that nicotine hits. So it will satisfy you the way nicotine does. And I'm hoping that's true, because you won't test positive for nicotine when you're taking Nixidine or Nixidine. So my local shop, they don't have it, so I placed an order for some online. Charged for $10 shipping, which is a rip off, but I'm anxious to see if this really is good. If it is, I'll be on the way to get one of my knees fixed. That'll help. Because I'd like to go out walking every day. I would like to. But every time I walk, my knees get painful. And I get tired. All I do is come home and plop down here on my chair. Excuse me. Yeah, it's after sleeping 8 hours. And this kind of weather, I burst out in sweat. I mean, just walking, it pours out of me. It just pours. You know, I sweat profusely. I hate it. I don't like the heat. So, yeah, we're still in the dog days of summer. But I kind of see a little bit of a cooling trend coming in. I don't know how long it's going to be, but, you know, maybe that'll help me to get out and get some exercise, which I've been lacking. I'm sitting here letting my muscles atrophy. But I do know a few exercises for my legs and feet that I try to do. They're not too strenuous, so I'm doing those to help with my overall well-being. And, you know, if I get off the nicotine, that would be a pretty good thing. And I don't smoke cigarettes, so I don't get all the tar and all the other crap they put in it. I'm not exactly what I'm getting through the vape either. But I know nicotine's not addicting. They add chemicals to nicotine that cause the addiction. I saw a couple doctors doing a talk show on YouTube about it. They say nicotine actually fought COVID. If you did nicotine, you didn't catch COVID. And I didn't catch COVID. But my doctor at the time, I had a sore throat and I called. I wanted to go in. That's why you have to go take a COVID test first. And I'll go out and get one of those. And it tested positive. I think it's a false positive. I didn't bother going to get a different kit, you know. But all I had was a sore throat. And so I wasn't allowed to go into the office. You know, all that craziness that was going on with COVID back then. I was one of the resistors. I did not take the vaccine. Came this close to losing my job about it before the Supreme Court stepped in and said, you can't do that to people. And whenever I'd walk into a truck stop, no mask. Sir, you have to wear a mask. And I would just simply reply, I'm not able to. And everything's okay. The only real problems I had was young people. I don't know if I told this story, but I went to Burger King on the Turnpike, High Turnpike. And I seen this kid, he's standing way in the back, no mask on. Then he comes up to me. He has his mask on by the time he gets to me. And I wanted to order something. I'm sorry, sir, I can't serve you. You're not wearing a mask. So, I'm not one to make a scene. But as soon as I got back to my truck, I called headquarters, Burger King headquarters, and reported that kid. I hope he got his just rewards. There's also a young girl working at a Wendy's at a different truck stop. Oh no, we can't serve you. You're not wearing a mask. Yeah. There's a big crowd of people there. Everybody turned and looked at me. And made me feel a little bit like a leper or something. I mean, that COVID crap was crazy. Now you see Dr. Fauci pleading the fifth. There's a lot I could say about that, but I don't want to be too political. But I think he was largely behind the creation of it, and he got rich off of it. And I bought a couple special kind of masks. One was had camouflage on it, but it's made out of mosquito netting, so it really wasn't doing what they wanted you to wear. And also had a black one like that, because when I went to work, I'd have to go into dispatch and get my paperwork, or when I was done, I'd go in dispatch, turn everything in. And one time, I never wore the mask. I always put it on when I was told to. One time, the girl goes, "You're not wearing your mask. You have to wear a mask." I said, "I'm not sick. I'm not going to get you sick." And then the supervisor comes, "You got to wear a mask." So I pretended, like it was a regular mask, but it wasn't. If I was blowing any bacteria, they would have got it anyhow. I really didn't believe in it. I think it was the flu. They replaced the flu with COVID. It was a damn shame what they're doing to people. So there's a guy I worked with. He was a mechanic and a fuel guy. He'd fuel up our trucks for us. He got sick. They said he had COVID. Put him in the hospital and gave him that remdesivir. And then next thing you know, he's on a thing that makes you breathe, a respirator, or something like that. I know it's not an iron lung. No, it's not a respirator. It's called something else. But he died. It was probably that drug they gave him. But I'm pushing a little too hard on YouTube right now. I better cut back on that kind of talk. But yeah, there's a lot of things I miss in my life now. I did have a conversation with my cousin on the phone last night, which is very nice, and I was happy to talk to her. And I am trying to get a hold of another cousin too, but after 12 years, people's phone numbers change and addresses change, and they might still be your friend on Facebook, but they don't frequent Facebook anymore. So, yeah, we used to be close, and there's a couple things I need to discuss with him before one of us would pass. He's a year and a half older than I am. I don't think either one of us is going to pass that quickly, but over 60, you never know. But some things happened in his family. that went against me, and I want him to hear my side and the truth before he's gone or before I'm gone. Yeah, there's also an old friend I'm trying to contact. I dial what was always his home phone number. And the first time I got answering machine, which is a normal sounding machine, nobody's here right now. And it was a machine voice, it wasn't his voice. Leave a message. So I left a message, told him to call me at his leisure. Never did. And then I called again. And I got a different kind of answering machine. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, the user cannot answer the phone right now. Some other weird stuff that not standard answering machine greetings. So, yeah, I'm trying to reach him. Both him and my cousin, I've looked them up on the internet, and I got the current address of my cousin, but no phone number. So I sent a message to his ex-wife to see if she has it. And of course, she hasn't checked messages either. She's not that active on Facebook anymore. Next, I'll go for his son, see if I can talk to him. And I did shed a lot of people out of my life, but there's still some people I'd like to be in it. If not just to talk about good old times together. That's about it for today. Once again, I ask you to like and subscribe and share the video if you think somebody would be interested in it. And don't forget to hit the bell that alerts you when I upload. Okay, thank you. Godspeed.